What if everything you've seen about Voodoo and Orisha in movies is not just wrong, but completely backwards? Hollywood loves to scare you with tales of dark magic, curses, and voodoo dolls, painting a picture of sinister rituals cloaked in mystery. But the truth behind Voodoo and Orisha is far more complex, fascinating, and beautiful than these stereotypes suggest. At their core, these are living spiritual traditions centered around connection, wisdom, and divine power. Ancient systems of God-human interaction that have endured for thousands of years. They are not about fear or horror. They are about balance, respect, and understanding the unseen forces that shape our world. This invites us to ask, why has the real story been so overshadowed by myth? Why do so many still associate Voodoo and Orisha only with superstition or evil? It's because popular culture often simplifies, distorts, or outright invents narratives for shock value, ignoring the rich history and sacred meaning that these beliefs hold for millions of people. Yet beneath every Hollywood stereotype lies a hidden reality, powerful gods and spirits who guide and protect, sacred rituals that honor life's mysteries, and a divine logic that shapes communities and individuals alike. What if the terrifying image you know is just a mask? What if behind it is a profound spiritual system where gods and humans communicate intimately, influencing everything from healing to destiny? Understanding Voodoo and Orisha means opening a door to ancient wisdom that connects the visible world with the invisible, the mortal with the divine. These traditions originate from West Africa, particularly the regions of Benin, Togo, and the Yoruba lands, and have traveled across oceans, surviving through centuries of oppression and transformation. They continue to thrive, not as relics of the past, but as dynamic living faiths that shape identity, morality, and community. They offer us a different way to view spirituality, one rooted in respect for ancestors, the natural world, and the complex relationships between humans and higher powers. In this video, we will separate Hollywood fantasy from cultural truth, exploring the real stories behind Voodoo and Orisha. We will delve into their origins, beliefs, and practices, uncovering the divine logic that makes them enduring and powerful spiritual systems. By the end, you'll see these traditions not as mysterious curiosities, but as vibrant, meaningful ways of understanding life and the sacred connections that bind us all. Long before Hollywood and the sensationalized stories emerged, Vodun and Orisha were deeply rooted spiritual systems born in the heart of West Africa. These traditions emerged from rich cultural tapestries woven by the people of the region, complex societies where the spiritual and material worlds were intricately linked. Understanding their origins requires traveling back in time to the ancient kingdoms and communities that gave rise to these belief systems, beginning with the peoples of what is today Benin, Togo, and southwestern Nigeria. Vodun, often spelled voodoo in Western contexts, originates primarily in the region of Benin and Togo. This area was once home to the Kingdom of Dahomey, a powerful West African state that flourished from the 17th to the 19th centuries. The spiritual worldview of the Dahomey people was deeply embedded in Vodun, a word that means spirit or deity in the Fon language. Vodun is a complex system of beliefs centered on numerous spirits known as the Vodun, who govern natural forces, human affairs, and ancestral connections. These spirits are not distant gods, but active participants in daily life, called upon for guidance, healing, and protection. The Dahomey Kingdom was not the only community where Vodun thrived. Various ethnic groups across Benin and Togo have maintained and evolved these beliefs over centuries. Meanwhile, the Orisha tradition is closely tied to the Yoruba people of southwestern Nigeria, one of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. The Yoruba civilization is renowned for its sophisticated religious system based on worship of Orishas, divine beings who represent forces of nature, human virtues, and cosmic principles. Each Orisha governs specific aspects of life, from fertility and thunder to wisdom and justice. Yoruba religion, with its pantheon of hundreds of Orishas, has been a central part of social and political life for centuries. The Yoruba people developed rich oral traditions, mythology, and rituals to honor these divine figures, creating a spiritual framework that shapes morality, destiny, and community cohesion. Both Vodun and Orisha traditions share striking similarities because of their common roots in the ancient West African spiritual worldview. Central to both is the belief in a supreme creator god who is often distant, while the Vodun, or Orishas, serve as intermediaries between humans and the divine. Ancestor veneration is also a fundamental aspect, as the spirits of the dead are considered essential guides and protectors. These shared beliefs reflect a worldview where the physical and spiritual realms are deeply interconnected, and where humans are constantly engaged in a reciprocal relationship with the forces that govern existence. As the transatlantic slave trade tore millions from their homes, these spiritual traditions did not disappear but traveled with enslaved Africans across the Americas and the Caribbean. Vodun and Orisha were adapted and transformed in places like Haiti, Cuba, Brazil, and Trinidad, blending with indigenous beliefs and Christianity under colonial pressure. In Haiti, Vodun became a symbol of resistance and identity during the Haitian Revolution, evolving into a structured religion with its own priests, rituals, and sacred ceremonies. The Yoruba Orisha worship merged with Catholicism in Cuba and Brazil, giving rise to syncretic religions like Santeria and Candomblé, which preserve core Yoruba beliefs while adopting Christian saints and iconography. Despite centuries of oppression, forced conversion, and stereotyping, Vodun and Orisha have survived as dynamic living traditions. In West Africa today, they remain integral to the cultural fabric, practiced openly with reverence and respect. In the diaspora, they continue to evolve, offering communities a profound connection to their ancestral roots and a way to reclaim spiritual identity. Their endurance is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of these faith systems. Understanding the origins and geography of Vodun and Orisha is crucial for appreciating their depth beyond popular misconceptions. These are not static relics, but vibrant, evolving traditions born from real people, real history, and real spiritual experiences. They embody a worldview that embraces complexity, acknowledges the sacred in everyday life, and fosters a continuous dialogue between gods and humans. As we move forward in this exploration, keep in mind that Vodun and Orisha are not just religions in the Western sense. They are holistic systems that integrate cosmology, ethics, community, and healing. Their roots in West Africa remain the foundation from which countless stories, rituals, and divine interactions emerge. A foundation that continues to inspire and shape millions around the world today. Vodun is far more than the shadowy stereotypes often portrayed in popular culture. It is a complex, deeply rooted spiritual system built on an elegant divine logic, a worldview that perceives the universe as a delicate balance of forces requiring harmony, respect, and ongoing communication between humans and the spirit world. At its core, Vodun is about connection between people, nature, ancestors, and divine spirits. It is a living tradition that honors these relationships and the responsibilities they carry. Central to Vodun belief is the concept of a supreme, distant creator god, often called Mawu or Nana Baruku, who set the cosmos in motion but delegates daily affairs to a rich pantheon of spirits called Vodun. These spirits are not distant deities locked in unreachable heavens. They are vibrant, active entities that interact with humans regularly. Each Vodun governs specific elements of the natural world, human experience, or societal order. From the river and forest spirits to those of fertility, justice, and even trickery, the pantheon is diverse and layered. The spirits embody various qualities and functions, making the Vodun system flexible and adaptable to the complex realities of human life. One of the most critical spirits in Vodun is Legba, the guardian of crossroads and the essential messenger between humans and other spirits. Legba's role is foundational because no communication or ritual can begin without his consent, symbolizing the idea that access to the divine is a negotiated process requiring respect and permission. Legba's presence is a reminder of the importance of boundaries and protocols in spiritual matters. Other notable Vodun spirits include Dan, the serpent god, a symbol of wisdom, renewal, and the cyclical nature of life and death. The serpent, constantly shedding its skin, represents transformation and the eternal return. There is also Gu, the spirit of iron and war, who embodies strength and protection, and Aizan, the guardian of sacred knowledge and initiations. Each Vodun has its personality, history, and rituals, shaping the moral and ethical framework of the communities that honor them. Practitioners of Vodun maintain dynamic relationships with these spirits through rituals involving music, dance, offerings, and trance possession. These practices are not mere performances, but sacred dialogues. Offerings of food, drink, and symbolic objects show gratitude and invoke the spirit's favor. Music and dance open pathways for communication, sometimes resulting in possession, where a spirit temporarily inhabits a human body to deliver messages or perform healing. This interactive exchange underscores the fundamental Vodun belief that humans and spirits exist in a shared, intertwined reality. Importantly, Vodun is a system of balance. It teaches that harmony between the spiritual and material worlds is essential for health, prosperity, and social order. Disruptions in this balance, whether through disrespect, neglect, or moral failings, can result in illness, misfortune, or conflict. Thus, Vodun rituals often aim to restore equilibrium, heal wounds, and reconcile relationships between people, spirits, and nature. Ancestor veneration is another pillar of Vodun belief. Ancestors are considered active participants in life, offering guidance and protection. Honoring ancestors with prayers, offerings, and rituals sustains their presence and influence, reinforcing continuity across generations and linking the living with the past and future. This relationship is fundamental to Vodun's holistic view of existence as a continuous cycle. Contrary to popular misconceptions that paint Vodun as dark sorcery or black magic, it is fundamentally about respect, communication, and coexistence with the sacred forces that shape the world. It encourages humility before the unknown, responsibility toward the community, and a profound respect for life's mysteries. This divine logic is a sophisticated spiritual philosophy that continues to offer meaning, guidance, and resilience to millions of people today. The Orisha tradition is one of the richest and most influential spiritual systems to emerge from Africa, originating from the Yoruba people of southwestern Nigeria and surrounding regions. At the heart of this tradition are the Orishas, powerful divine beings who serve as living gods, intermediaries bridging the human and divine worlds. Unlike distant deities who govern from afar, the Orishas engage directly with people's lives, shaping destinies, guiding moral choices, and maintaining cosmic balance. Understanding who the Orishas are is essential to grasping the essence of Yoruba spirituality and its profound impact across continents. Orishas are manifestations of the supreme god Olodumare's power and will. While Olodumare is the ultimate creator and source of all existence, this god is seen as remote and transcendent, leaving the day-to-day governance of the universe to the Orishas. Each Orisha embodies a specific aspect of nature, human emotion, or social principle, making the pantheon incredibly diverse. They are not abstract concepts, but living, breathing entities with personalities, stories, and relationships. In many ways, the Orishas function like a divine council, each playing distinct roles to maintain harmony between the physical and spiritual realms. The Orishas act as intermediaries, carrying prayers, offerings, and messages between humans and Olodumare. People communicate with the Orishas through rituals, ceremonies, songs, and divination, asking for guidance, protection, healing, and blessings. This relationship is reciprocal. Humans honor the Orishas with offerings and festivals, while the Orishas respond with support, wisdom, and intervention in worldly affairs. This dynamic underlines the Yoruba belief that the spiritual and material worlds are intertwined, and maintaining good relations with the Orishas is essential for personal and communal well-being. Among the hundreds of Orishas, several stand out for their widespread worship and distinctive attributes. For example, Ogun is the Orisha of iron, war, and labor. He is a fierce protector and a patron of blacksmiths, hunters, and warriors, embodying strength, courage, and craftsmanship. Ogun's energy is vital for overcoming obstacles and forging new paths. Another prominent Orisha is Shango or Sango, the god of thunder, lightning, and fire. Shango is known for his fiery temperament, charisma, and justice. He symbolizes power, authority, and the righteous use of force. His stories often emphasize bravery, leadership, and the importance of balance between strength and wisdom. Yemoja or Yemaya, the Orisha of the Ogun River and the ocean, represents motherhood, fertility, and nurturing. She is often invoked for protection, healing, and emotional comfort. Yemoja embodies the life-giving and sustaining forces of water, a critical element in Yoruba cosmology. Oshun, or Osun, the Orisha of fresh water, love, beauty, and prosperity, is another beloved figure. Oshun's influence extends to matters of fertility, relationships, and creativity. Her stories celebrate joy, compassion, and the delicate balance between sensuality and spirituality. Each Orisha has specific colors, symbols, songs, and ritual practices associated with them, reflecting their unique personalities and domains. Devotees often develop personal relationships with one or more Orishas, receiving guidance through divination systems like Ifa, which uses complex patterns to interpret the will of the Orishas and the cosmos. This divination is not just fortune-telling, it is a moral and spiritual compass, helping individuals understand their destiny, resolve conflicts, and align with the cosmic order. Orisha worship is more than religious devotion. It is a comprehensive framework that informs Yoruba morality, social norms, and life purpose. The Orishas exemplify virtues such as justice, courage, wisdom, and compassion, serving as role models for human behavior. They teach that destiny, or ayanmo, is not fixed, but can be shaped through ethical choices, ritual observance, and alignment with spiritual forces. This worldview fosters a sense of responsibility toward oneself, others, and the environment. The festivals and ceremonies dedicated to the Orishas are vibrant communal events that reinforce social bonds. cultural identity and spiritual renewal. Music, dance, drumming, and elaborate costumes bring the stories and energies of the Orishas to life, creating a powerful shared experience. These celebrations are not only acts of worship, but also affirmations of resilience and continuity, especially significant for Yoruba descendants in the diaspora, who maintain these traditions far from their ancestral homelands. The influence of Orisha worship extends far beyond Nigeria. Through the transatlantic slave trade, the Yoruba people's religious practices traveled to the Americas and the Caribbean, blending with indigenous and European beliefs to form syncretic religions such as Santeria in Cuba, Candomblé in Brazil, and Vodou in Haiti. These traditions preserve the core principles of Orisha worship, adapting them to new cultural contexts while maintaining deep reverence for the Orishas and their teachings. In conclusion, the Orishas are much more than mythological figures. They are living gods whose presence and guidance permeate everyday life. Their role as intermediaries connects the human and divine, offering pathways for understanding morality, destiny, and connection. Orisha worship embodies a holistic spiritual system that continues to inspire and sustain millions, bridging ancient wisdom with contemporary life. Hollywood has long been fascinated by the mysterious and the supernatural, and nowhere is this more evident than in its portrayal of Voodoo and Orisha traditions. Movies, TV shows, and popular culture have consistently depicted these spiritual systems through a distorted lens, emphasizing dark magic, curses, zombies, and sinister rituals. Unfortunately, these portrayals bear little resemblance to the lived realities of Vodun and Orisha practitioners. The myths created by Hollywood not only misinform but also perpetuate harmful stereotypes that obscure the true richness and spirituality of these traditions. One of the most persistent misconceptions is that Voodoo and Orisha worship revolve around sinister sorcery and malevolent acts. Popular films often show voodoo priests using dolls to cast curses or raise zombies from the dead. While these images are compelling for entertainment, they are gross exaggerations and fabrications. In reality, Vodun and Orisha practices center on harmony, healing, and communication with divine forces. The voodoo doll trope, for example, is largely a Hollywood invention with only tenuous ties to actual rituals. The spirits and gods in these systems are revered entities who guide and protect, not tools for dark manipulation. Another common misrepresentation is the conflation of distinct traditions into a monolithic, often frightening belief system. Hollywood frequently lumps together Vodun, Orisha, Santeria, Candomblé, and Haitian Vodou as if they are identical, ignoring their unique histories, cultural contexts, and spiritual emphases. This homogenization erases important distinctions and oversimplifies complex religions. For example, while Haitian Vodou and West African Vodun share roots, their development and practice differ significantly, influenced by geography, history, and cultural interaction. Similarly, Orisha worship has its own rituals, pantheon, and moral frameworks that are distinct from Vodun. The failure to recognize these differences contributes to misunderstanding and misrepresentation. Hollywood's portrayal also tends to exoticize and demonize these traditions, casting practitioners as mysterious others who wield dangerous, unknowable powers. This depiction feeds into long-standing racial and cultural stereotypes that associate African spirituality with primitiveness, danger, or evil. The consequences are profound. Practitioners of Vodun and Orisha, especially in Western countries, often face prejudice, discrimination, and social marginalization. Their faiths are dismissed as superstition, or even labeled as satanic or black magic, which undermines religious freedom and perpetuates stigma. These misconceptions also hinder academic and cultural appreciation of these rich spiritual systems. When people's first exposure to Vodun or Orisha is through sensationalized media, it becomes harder to approach these traditions with openness and respect. Misrepresentation discourages genuine curiosity and dialogue, isolating practitioners and making it difficult for outsiders to understand the true meaning and significance of their beliefs. Moreover, the negative portrayal has practical consequences for communities connected to these traditions. In countries like Haiti, Benin, Nigeria, and throughout the diaspora, Vodun and Orisha religions are vital cultural pillars that provide social cohesion, moral guidance, and spiritual support. The Hollywood lens, however, distorts their image on the global stage, influencing public opinion and policy in ways that can be damaging. For example, the association of Vodun with witchcraft has sometimes led to persecution and violence against practitioners. In other cases, it has impeded efforts to preserve these traditions as valuable cultural heritage. Despite these challenges, practitioners and scholars have worked tirelessly to reclaim the narrative around Vodun and Orisha. Cultural ambassadors, religious leaders, and academics strive to educate the public about the authentic beliefs, practices, and histories of these traditions. Through books, documentaries, festivals, and public talks, they challenge stereotypes and highlight the spiritual depth, moral frameworks, and vibrant communities that define Vodun and Orisha worship. Understanding the reality behind the myths is essential not only for correcting misconceptions, but also for appreciating the profound wisdom these traditions offer. Vodun and Orisha are systems that teach respect for the environment, community responsibility, and the interconnectedness of life and spirit. They provide frameworks for healing, justice, and balance, values that resonate universally but have been overshadowed by sensationalized media portrayals. In conclusion, the Hollywood image of Vodun and Orisha as dark, mysterious, and dangerous is a distortion that does a disservice to these rich traditions and their practitioners. Separating fact from fiction requires acknowledging the complexity, history, and sacredness of these spiritual systems. It also calls for respect, empathy, and an openness to learning. By moving beyond myths, we open the door to a deeper understanding of the divine logic and cultural significance that make Vodun and Orisha enduring and powerful forces in the lives of millions around the world. Vodun and Orisha traditions, far from being relics of the past, are vibrant, living spiritual systems that continue to thrive across the globe. From their origins in West Africa to their diasporic manifestations throughout the Americas and Caribbean, these traditions have evolved, adapted, and maintained their cultural, spiritual, and social significance. Today, they offer powerful sources of identity, community, and resilience for millions of people navigating complex modern realities. In West Africa, Vodun and Orisha practices remain deeply embedded in daily life. In countries like Benin, Togo, and Nigeria, these traditions coexist alongside Christianity and Islam, shaping cultural festivals, social structures, and personal spirituality. In Benin, Vodun is recognized as a national religion, and annual festivals attract thousands who come to honor the spirits, renew communal bonds, and affirm cultural pride. These ceremonies involve vibrant music, dance, and ritual offerings, bringing communities together in shared expression and devotion. Similarly, in Yoruba regions of Nigeria, Orisha worship continues to be central to social identity, with shrines, priests, and devotees playing vital roles in spiritual guidance and community cohesion. The impact of these traditions extends far beyond Africa. The transatlantic slave trade carried Vodun and Orisha beliefs to the Americas, where they blended with indigenous and European influences to create powerful syncretic religions. Haitian Voodoo, Cuban Santeria, Brazilian Candomblé, and other related practices are direct descendants of these African spiritual systems. Despite historical oppression, including colonial suppression and religious persecution, these traditions have endured and even flourished in new cultural contexts. In the Americas, Vodun and Orisha practices often serve as critical means of cultural preservation and resistance. They provide diasporic communities with a tangible connection to their African heritage and a framework for spiritual empowerment. These traditions offer tools for healing historical trauma, affirming identity, and fostering solidarity in environments that have often marginalized African-descended peoples. Festivals, rituals, and communal ceremonies continue to be important sites of cultural affirmation and spiritual renewal. Modern practitioners of Vodun and Orisha also engage with contemporary issues, adapting their beliefs to address challenges such as social injustice, environmental degradation, and personal well-being. Spiritual leaders often play roles as community organizers, healers, and counselors, using traditional knowledge alongside modern insights to support their communities. This blending of the old and new demonstrates the dynamic nature of these traditions, proving they are not static but continually responsive to the needs of their adherents. Furthermore, global interest in Vodun and Orisha has grown among spiritual seekers, scholars, and artists, contributing to broader cultural exchange and awareness. Documentaries, books, music, and visual arts explore and celebrate these traditions, often with input from practitioners themselves, helping to dismantle stereotypes and educate wider audiences. However, this exposure also brings challenges around cultural appropriation and respect for sacred practices, prompting ongoing conversations about how to honor these traditions responsibly. At their core, Vodun and Orisha remain deeply communal and relational systems. They emphasize the interconnectedness of all life, between humans, nature, ancestors, and the divine, and the importance of maintaining balance and respect within these relationships. This worldview continues to inspire a sense of purpose, belonging, and spiritual fulfillment for those who follow these paths. In summary, Vodun and Orisha today are not merely historical or folkloric curiosities. They are living traditions that adapt, survive, and thrive in diverse contexts. Their cultural, spiritual, and social significance endures as they provide meaning, identity, and connection for millions worldwide. Whether in the heart of West Africa or across the diaspora, these systems of belief continue to illuminate the sacred logic that bridges human experience with the divine, offering guidance, healing, and hope for the future. Vodun and Orisha traditions are often misunderstood, overshadowed by myths and stereotypes that fail to capture their true essence. At their core, these spiritual systems are vibrant, living expressions of a profound divine logic, systems built on connection, respect, balance, and ongoing communication between humans and the sacred forces that shape our world. Far from the Hollywood caricatures of dark magic and curses, Vodun and Orisha reveal a worldview that honors the interconnectedness of life, the importance of community, and the power of the divine in everyday existence. The origins of Vodun in Benin and Togo, and Orisha worship among the Yoruba of Nigeria, reflect rich cultural histories that have endured for centuries. Despite being uprooted and transformed through the brutal history of the transatlantic slave trade, These traditions have traveled across oceans and continents, adapting and thriving in new contexts, from Haiti to Cuba, Brazil to Trinidad. Their resilience speaks to their spiritual depth and the enduring human need for connection to the divine and to ancestors. Understanding Vodun and Orisha means recognizing them not as exotic or dangerous curiosities, but as sacred, ethical systems that guide millions in their lives. These traditions teach values such as justice, healing, courage, and harmony with nature, offering frameworks for morality and destiny that remain deeply relevant today. Their pantheons of spirits and gods, their rich rituals, and their vibrant community practices reflect a complex and beautiful spirituality that demands respect and genuine curiosity. It's time to move beyond the misconceptions fueled by movies and media and open ourselves to the real stories of divine wisdom, cultural richness, and human resilience. By doing so, we honor the millions who live these traditions and help preserve an important part of global spiritual heritage. If you found this exploration enlightening, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to uncover beyond stereotypes. More myths to bust, more cultures to celebrate, and deeper truths to explore. Join us on this journey of discovery, where history, spirituality, and culture meet to reveal the incredible diversity of human belief and experience.